National Electrical Code Section 110.26 addresses the critical topic of working space about electrical equipment. This code section mandates specific clearances to provide a safe working environment for qualified personnel when inspecting, maintaining, or repairing electrical systems. Understanding and adhering to these clearance requirements is crucial for preventing electrical hazards and ensuring compliance with safety standards. The primary purpose of 110.26 is to establish a safe zone around electrical equipment, allowing electricians and other qualified personnel to perform their tasks without undue risk of electrical shock, arc flash, or physical injury. These clearances provide sufficient space for movement, access, and the use of tools and equipment. Section 110.26 specifies minimum clearance distances in 3 dimensions: width, depth, and height. These dimensions vary based on the voltage of the equipment and the presence of exposed live parts. The width of the working space must be the width of the equipment, or 30 inches, whichever is greater. This ensures that personnel have adequate lateral space to move and work comfortably. The depth of the working space, measured from the front of the equipment, varies depending on the voltage and the condition of the opposite side. 3 conditions are defined: Condition 1, Condition 2, and Condition 3. Condition 1 applies when there are exposed live parts on one side of the working space and grounded parts on the opposite side, or when grounded parts extend across the working space behind the live parts. Condition 2 applies when there are exposed live parts on one side of the working space and insulated parts on the opposite side. Condition 3 applies when there are exposed live parts on both sides of the working space. The required depth increases with voltage and with the severity of the condition, with Condition 3 requiring the greatest depth. For example, for equipment operating at 150 volts to ground or less, the minimum working space depth is 3 feet for Condition 1, 3 feet for Condition 2, and 3 feet for Condition 3. For equipment operating at 600 volts to ground, the minimum working space depth is 3 feet for Condition 1, 3.5 feet for Condition 2, and 4 feet for Condition 3. The height of the working space must be at least 6.5 feet or the height of the equipment, whichever is greater. This ensures adequate headroom for personnel working and the equipment. It is important to note that these are minimum requirements, and in some cases greater clearances may be necessary to provide a safe working environment. Several factors can affect the required working clearances, including the voltage of the equipment, the presence of exposed live parts, the complexity of the equipment, and the potential for arc flash. Higher voltage equipment generally requires greater clearances due to the increased risk of electrical shock and arc flash. Equipment with exposed live parts also requires greater clearances to prevent accidental contact. Complex equipment may require additional space for access and maintenance. The potential for arc flash should also be considered when determining working clearances. Arc flash is a dangerous electrical explosion that can cause severe burns, injuries, and even death. The severity of an arc flash depends on the voltage, current, and duration of the fault. In areas where arc flash is a significant concern, it may be necessary to increase working clearances to reduce the risk of injury. Several common violations of 110.26 occur in electrical installations. One common violation is obstructing the working space with storage or other materials. The working space must be kept clear of obstructions to allow for safe access and egress. Another common violation is installing equipment too close to walls or other obstructions. The minimum clearance distances specified in 110.26 must be maintained at all times. A third common violation is failing to provide adequate headroom in the working space. The height of the working space must be at least 6.5 feet or the height of the equipment, whichever is greater. To ensure compliance with 110.26a, it is essential to carefully plan electrical installations and consider the required working clearances. When designing an electrical system, the location of equipment should be chosen to provide adequate space for access, maintenance, and safety. The equipment should be installed so that it meets the minimum clearance distances specified in 110.26a. Regular inspections should be conducted to ensure that the working space is kept clear of obstructions and that the equipment is properly maintained. Qualified personnel should be trained to recognize and avoid electrical hazards. This training should include information on the requirements of 110.26 and the importance of maintaining safe working clearances. Understanding the three conditions defined in 110.26 is paramount to ensure proper clearance. Each condition addresses different scenarios based on the presence of exposed live parts and grounded or insulated surfaces on the opposite side of the working space. Accurately identifying the applicable condition is crucial for determining the correct working depth. For Condition 1, where exposed live parts exist on one side of the working space and grounded parts are on the opposite side, or when grounded parts extend behind the live parts, it's essential to maintain the specified clearance to prevent accidental contact with grounded surfaces while working on energized equipment. Condition 2, involving exposed live parts on one side and insulated parts on the opposite side, generally requires a slightly reduced clearance compared to Condition 1, as the presence of insulation reduces the risk of immediate grounding. However, it's vital to ensure the insulation is properly maintained and free from defects to guarantee its effectiveness. Condition 3, with exposed live parts on both sides of the working space, poses the highest risk and necessitates the greatest clearance. This scenario demands meticulous attention to detail and adherence to safety protocols to prevent simultaneous contact with live conductors. Careful consideration should be given to the placement of equipment to avoid creating Condition 3 situations whenever possible. The voltage to ground plays a significant role in determining the required working clearance. Higher voltages necessitate greater clearances due to the increased potential for electrical arcing and the higher energy levels involved. Always refer to the specific voltage ratings of the equipment and consult the NEC tables to determine the appropriate clearance for each situation. The height requirement of 6.5 feet or the height of the equipment, whichever is greater, is crucial for providing adequate headroom for personnel working on electrical equipment. This clearance ensures that workers can stand upright and move freely without the risk of bumping their heads or coming into contact with overhead obstructions. When equipment exceeds 6.5 feet in height, the working space must extend to the top of the equipment to provide sufficient vertical clearance. Proper lighting is essential for safe working conditions in electrical rooms and around electrical equipment. Adequate illumination allows workers to clearly see the equipment, identify potential hazards, and perform their tasks accurately. Consider installing additional lighting fixtures to supplement existing lighting and ensure that the working space is well lit. Maintaining clear and unobstructed access to electrical equipment is crucial for emergency situations. Ensure that doors and passageways leading to electrical rooms are free from obstacles and that personnel can quickly and easily reach the equipment in case of a fault or other emergency. Clearly mark the location of electrical equipment and emergency shut-off switches to facilitate rapid response. Regularly inspect electrical installations to identify and correct any violations of 110.26a. Conduct visual inspections to check for obstructions, inadequate clearances, and other potential hazards. Use measuring tools to verify that the required clearance distances are maintained. Address any violations promptly to prevent accidents and ensure compliance with safety standards. In addition to the minimum clearance requirements specified in 110.26a, consider providing additional space around electrical equipment to enhance safety and accessibility. Extra space can make it easier to maneuver tools and equipment, reduce the risk of accidental contact with live parts, and improve overall working conditions. Engage qualified electrical contractors and engineers to design and install electrical systems that comply with all applicable codes and standards. These professionals have the expertise and experience to ensure that electrical installations are safe, reliable, and efficient. Seek their guidance when planning new installations or modifying existing systems. Provide ongoing training to electrical workers on the requirements of 110.26 and other relevant safety standards. Emphasize the importance of maintaining safe working clearances and following proper procedures when working on electrical equipment. Conduct regular safety meetings to discuss best practices and address any concerns or questions. In addition to complying with 110.26a, consider implementing additional safety measures to protect workers from electrical hazards. These measures may include the use of personal protective equipment such as insulated gloves and safety glasses, the implementation of lockout/tagout procedures, and the use of arc flash protection equipment. Regularly review and update safety procedures to reflect changes in technology and best practices. Proper labeling of electrical equipment is essential for identifying components and providing important safety information. Clearly label all electrical panels, disconnect switches, and other equipment with their voltage ratings, amperage ratings, and other relevant information. Use warning labels to alert personnel to potential hazards such as high voltage or arc flash. Ensure that labels are durable and easy to read. Implement a comprehensive safety program that includes policies and procedures for electrical safety. This program should address all aspects of electrical safety, from design and installation to maintenance and repair. Regularly review and update the safety program to reflect changes in codes, standards, and best practices. Encourage a culture of safety in the workplace where employees are empowered to identify and report potential hazards. Create a system for reporting safety concerns and ensure that all reports are promptly investigated and addressed. Recognize and reward employees who demonstrate a commitment to safety. In summary, adherence to NEC 110.26 is not merely a matter of code compliance, but a fundamental principle of electrical safety. By understanding and implementing the clearance requirements, electrical professionals can create a safer working environment and prevent potentially life-threatening accidents. Regular inspection, training, and a strong safety culture are essential components of ensuring ongoing compliance and protecting the well-being of those who work with electrical systems. Understanding and applying these requirements minimizes risks and promotes safety.